Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Steven. You're watching the Foul Airgun channel. Today, guys, we're going to be taking a look at a new product that was sent over to us by a company named Gunsan. This is the CS-ATA in 22 caliber. We're just going to dive right on in here, and we're just going to go ahead and start out with getting a real close-up look on this. So, give you a little bit of a backstory on this. I was in the market for a new 22 caliber PCP airgun, and I was browsing all the normal sites and went over on eBay, and I happened to cross this piece here. Now, I had one, never seen this, two, never heard of the company, and three, was very interested in it because of the way that it looked. I really like the tactical stock that this thing is built on, the whole tactical platform. It is a great solid construction. So one of the things I was extremely curious about when I first seen this was how much of this is plastic, polymer, how much of this is aluminum or steel, and we can go ahead and answer all those questions right now. So right now we're going to do a quick little overview on this rifle here. I'm going to give you a brief little opinion on some things and what I think about it, and then we're going to go over here to the bench and we're going to shoot us a couple groups out to 40 yards and get you some chronograph numbers, get you some good roundabout information on this piece here. And like I said, first gonna go ahead and start with a real good overview and opinion on this thing. Like I said, I found this on eBay and contacted the company, told them I'd like to do a little review, and they cut me a fantastic deal that I couldn't resist. And so we're going to give a 100% thorough and honest review on this rifle here. So if you're out and you're browsing the internet and you see this out there, I believe that the price point on this was just over $400. And that's what they were, I believe, retailing at, or what I saw them posted for on eBay anyhow. So $400, just over $400, I believe. This is the package deal that you're gonna get here. I don't believe they offer different calibers. I could be wrong, but when I went into the listing and I contacted them, the only thing I was able to get was this 22 caliber version here, which again, like I said, I was browsing for 22, so right on. Anyways, so let's go over some features here. We'll start right up here at the front. You'll notice a couple things. You may or may not be familiar with this. So we have micro manometer from FX air guns here. We have a FX air gauge right in the front. We have aluminum shrouded barrel here, threaded thread protector, 1/2 by 20, I believe. This gun does come with a fill probe, which is, you know, it's not the greatest accessory, I believe, to have floating around for your air gun, but that's going to be how you're going to fill your gun there. And it is accessible through both sides, so that's rather convenient there. It is on the end housed of this large aluminum air cylinder here. I'm not exactly sure on its max capabilities, but I will tell you this: I believe 200 bar is going to be your great manufacturing operating range there to start shooting from. So a 200 bar fill, I filled this thing all the way up to 250 bar, left it overnight, and fired it a couple times first thing in the morning, and it'll shoot low. I believe it starts, if you start all the way up at 250 bar, it'll shoot right at that 700 feet per second range, and it climbs very slow, and then it makes a really big jump. But anyhow, so most of this construction on this is aluminum and polymer. So there are some small steel parts here, but you have this huge handrail here right on the front with Picatinny rails all over this thing, guys. So you got plenty of room to mount your optics, you know, a laser, a bipod, whatever it may be that you want to put on there. I'm not even sure how many slots that is, guys, but there is a lot of room to accessorize on this thing, especially in the forward area of this rifle. Right here on the top, you have something I personally like, that I think I'd like to see more people do, or all air gun industries kind of go into, is the option here where they mill this into this one piece. I believe this may be aluminum construction. I don't believe that's a steel part. So this is all solid here. The body of the air gun, this one solid cast piece here, is aluminum, and you have a nice integrated Picatinny and dovetail rail. So you know, you got the option of having both. If you want to go with your Picatinny mounts there for your optic, you can go with that, or your dovetail. And that is a nice clean cut rail. I will say overall, I think the craftsmanship on this is pretty spot on. From what I understand, this is a Turkish-made air gun. So, you know, I believe a lot of things that come from the Turkish-made manufacturers can be of fairly good quality. You know, a lot of crawl air guns and hots and stuff and all kinds of other stuff comes from Turkey. Still some pretty good quality parts. Like I discussed, you have the FX manometer here on the front, and some of you may even be familiar with this buttstock here. This is actually one that comes standard on a lot of the crawl air guns, actually. So a very adjustable buttstock here. You have it fully adjustable for your cheek riser here, as well for your length of pull. Like I said, I believe you have 5 points of position lock in there on that buttstock. So again, it's all polymer. It's lightweight, has a nice rubber butt pad on it, but it is, again, something I am familiar with, a product I've seen out there. So what that kind of tells me is that this is kind of like a little Frankenstein of a lot of parts from manufacturers that already produce a lot of parts for other air guns out there, is what I'm trying to say. So it's aluminum. I believe it's got a little bit of steel in it. We got a lot of polymer. This whole handrail here is polymer. The plastic is all the way, the entire thing. It actually free floats right over this air cylinder, so you can actually grab this here and pull and remove the entire thing straight out if you want to. There is a screw right here in the back end. I do advise that you remove that screw before you pull that out, but yeah, it just floats right over that air cylinder there. So yeah, big old solid aluminum air cylinder. The barrel shroud is aluminum, and it also has a nice matte black finish on everything. Like I said, they really stuck with that tactical feel there. The trigger on this thing is a very basic, very standard trigger on it. It's non-adjustable from what I can tell, so I don't believe there's going to be a whole lot you can do with that, unless you're like myself, and I'm going to dive into this rifle at a later point and do quite a bit of tuning to it. They opted to go with this AR style interchangeable grip, which I really like. I really like that, as a matter of fact. So yeah, you can just pop the bottom off right there, access your tool and any of your favorite AR style grips. You know, if you like that 0 degree grip or something on there, or 0 angle grip or something, and you got that. First impressions. So, pardon me, my back is really aching right now. Some real first impressions here. When I picked up out of the box, first thing I noticed is it has a little bit of weight to it. So you're sitting right about that, like 7, it could be 8 pounds. I'd say it's closer to like 7. So about a 7-pound gun, so it's got a little bit of weight to it. It's really not bad at all. And the other thing is the length of pull on this is really long, because this adapter here for this collapsing buttstock, which does collapse, yes, that is right. That is what you're seeing on there. And it locks in as well, so you don't have to worry about this thing flopping and folding on you. They do that by this nice little drop down into plastic here. So when they mold this here and they create it, just locks right in place there. It just drops down so that it has a nice little area where it hinges in tight, so that's not going to be flopping around on you. So that's good. However, the adapter, though it is polymer, which is not a big deal, a lot of things are plastic now and they hold up really well, it is very long. This adapter is really large, so it brings a lot of length of pull to the gun. So if you're going to run this, or for myself anyways, which I have, I'd say a pretty decent length in my arm, I definitely run this with the buttstock completely collapsed, because if you were to telescope this thing up, which is absolutely ridiculous, this is like some crazy Mossberg shotgun type deal here. It's really long. And now if this works for you, and this is what helps you get better centered, you know, maybe you're using an optic that has, you know, to be set further back, closer towards your eye, something of the sort, and you may need that length there. Hey, there you go, you got it, that's for sure. You got a lot of length of pull there. So let's talk about the safety here on this thing. This is another thing I'm going to point out. Safety on this is going to be on your left side only. It's non-ambidextrous. It's not a problem if you're a right-hand shooter, because if you're shooting, most of the time I like, personally me anyways, my trigger to be right here by my left or my right thumb here, so that I can just, you know, operate that as need be. However, you'll see that this thing is absolutely nowhere near my thumb. As a matter of fact, it's almost nowhere near accessible whatsoever for your finger there. So if you're going to want to operate that, you're going to have to manually take your hand off the gun, take your hand from wherever it may be to operate that safety there. So that is kind of a bummer there. I feel like the placement on that's a little odd, but considering the fact that they have all their trigger mechanism and all their stuff way up here on the top of the block, it kind of makes sense that it's really far up there. But not a big deal. Again, this is just the safety we're talking about, but I did want to point that out to a lot of people. Another thing I want to point out, since we're kind of not bashing it, but you know, pointing out some oddities on it, let's talk about this trigger guard here. Now, I think that's kind of a sweet looking trigger guard. I've seen a design very similar to this before in the past, but I'll tell you there's a huge problem with this. So this is some sort of like molded or cast type plastic here. It is polymer, but you'll notice that these edges right here are god awfully sharp. And I mean, and I've been nicked quite a few times with them, but I wanted to show you guys, give you all the opportunity to see these things as they come straight from manufacturer. Just be aware that if you buy this rifle and you go to pull it out of the box and you slinging it around or doing whatever, that could gouge you up pretty good right there. So that is something to be mindful of for sure. Let's talk about the cocking lever here. So this is a side cocking lever gun. So you have multi-shot, because what you get here, that's a GoPro battery, are these indexing magazines. And these are very odd looking magazines, yet they're very functional. I haven't had many issues with the magazines. The magazines seem to index fine and work properly. The stop that is inside of there, that stops the pellet from going a bit further over than it should, I believe is a little out of spec there, and that's causing some probing issues with the few pellets that I've tried through this thing. But nonetheless, the quality of the magazine, it's pretty decent, honestly. I don't really mind it too much. I almost thought this was one of those open face non-indexing type magazines, you know, the rotary, non-rotary style ones. But I'm glad it is an indexing magazine. So if anybody's curious, yes, this is an indexing magazine, and it is a 10 shot and 22 caliber. Your charging lever here on the side, right? Okay, this thing is aluminum. It has this design that is, to be honest with you, it's really tucked away and kind of flush and hidden in with this tactical feel, which I kind of like. You know, really getting to the charging handle has never really been much of an issue for me, and I think that's because I got smaller hands. Not necessarily in length, but just my hands aren't very large, so something like this is not an issue for myself. It may be an issue for you. I don't know. It may be. You tell me. It's pretty slim. It's pretty tucked away to the gun. However, I've had no issues with it. But I will tell you this. The cocking lever on it is very mechanical in feel. It's got a lot of, you're getting a lot of spring action in there, which tells me this probably has a pretty decent length of spring in it. And you're getting a lot of noise there, and it's kind of got that crunchy, grindy feeling going back. But it does nonetheless lock in pretty smooth, and once you're probing back forward, everything feels to be pretty smooth. Probe is nice and sturdy and everything of the sort. But like I said, overall, the charging lever on this thing, it seems, the cocking lever, it seems to be okay. It's just a little mechanical in feel. It's not going to be a really smooth action for some folks out there. It is not a heavy weight on the charging spring there, so I'm not going to guess weight. I throw numbers out all day at you guys, and I could be crazy wrong. I would say that's about a medium action there. It's really not too heavy, but it's not light. So you can feel that it has some power behind it with that spring. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We've covered air cylinder. It's like I said, 200 bar. Fill, I believe, is going to be the best operating pressure there for air. Like I said, filled all the way up to 250 bar, and it was right at like 700 feet per second, and then climbed. And it as well, finishing off, which we'll go over all this when we go down here and we shoot over Chronograph and we shoot some groups and things of the sort. We're going to get this dressed out. I'm going to put a very simple scope on top of this, bipod, and we're even going to throw on one of the Donnie FL moderators here on the end to shush it down quite a bit more, which that is something else I can mention here before I jump back over to this, is that this is, I would consider, on the medium spectrum for noise. It's really not terribly loud for 22 caliber. However, I would not consider this thing backyard friendly unless you have a moderator on this. So that's that. And yeah, like I said, 200 bar is going to be our pressure where we're going to start at. And really, when this thing gets down to like 110 bar, somewhere right in that area, it's pretty much useless. You're not going to get much use out of your shots there, but you're getting quite a few magazines out of this. And I think we'll be pretty surprised at some of the accuracy. We'll see what's going on with the accuracy out here at 40 yards. I can show you guys some things with some different pellets, what it's doing. And then I can tell you this. What I plan to do with this rifle is I plan to completely modify it like I do pretty much everything else. So you're going to see it go from this to something entirely different. And the point of that will be more so to show you what it is capable of doing. So if you purchase something like this and you may have some good know-how, I can kind of walk you through some of these things in the comments as well as through some of my videos if you reach out to me, and kind of teach you what I know about modifying and tuning these things to get them to shoot more to the liking, you know. And there's only so much you can really get out of certain things, you know. That's just kind of math when you chalk it up. But altogether, this is going to be a project rifle. So far, I've been satisfied with it. So now let's go over here. Let's get back to the bench. Let's get set up. Like I said, do a little bit of shooting out there at like 40 yards, and then shoot you some chronograph numbers. We'll go from there, guys. All right. Hello, everybody out there. I hope I got a good view. Everybody can see everything. You may not be able to see my face too well, but it's here, I promise. Anyhow, we're gonna shoot us a couple groups out there at 40 yards, guys. And we are at a 200 bar fill, a 200 bar top off here. And we're gonna sit with that there. I have camera rolling up down there, downrange at 40 yards, and we're going to be shooting at some graph paper out there, and we're going to see if we can't print us a couple groups out there that look half decent, and see how this thing does. So we got a couple different types of ammunition here. We have Crosman Premier 14.3 grains, FX 15.9s, and JSB. These are the, I believe these are the CZ. No, these are just the basic non-CZ. These are the 18.13. And for a little bit of a wild card here, I figured we'd try to load up some of these Crosman Premier Gold Tip 17.4 grain pellets, just to see if they'll cycle in the magazine and what have you. We are getting a little bit of a wind right now, I'm noticing, but hey, that ain't gonna stop us from shooting. We're gonna start right now with these Crosman Premier hollow point pellets, 14.3 grain pellets, and we're gonna go right on ahead, and we're gonna start at the top left corner up there. Yeah, not too loud with the down EFL on there. Definitely helps to quiet it down a little bit. This has been something I've noticed that I've ran into an issue with here. You'll see this going on here. That's probing issue. And that will damage your pellets. A good cause for misaccuracy, especially at 40 yards. But we are using, come on now, my Caldwell turret here to help us to eliminate as much of that error as possible. And again, these are just groups straight from 200 bar. I found that this rifle shoots absolutely the best right at 150 bar, actually just below 150 bar, and you get two good magazines. You get two really good magazines there at 150 bar. So 200 bar is a little bit hot for it. Let's see, one magazine there took us from 200 bar to, I'm not sure if you all can see that there or not. That's about 180 bar, right around in that area. So from what I'm understanding, I believe it was about 4 really useful magazines here that we were getting. I'm going to go right on over to this next fill, or still on the same fill, pardon me, at 180 bar roughly. And we're just going to go ahead and shoot these FX These are FX 15.9 grain pellets. So this is going to be a much more of a quality pellet here. And going to get that loaded in there. That seemed to chamber in the breech much nicer. And I'm just going to go right on over to the right hand side here. There we go. We're getting a little pellet on pellet action out there. Let's see if we can keep that going. So far, it's a pretty tight group. Some guys like to call it at 5. I don't like a 5-shot group. That's just me. I like a 10-shot group. That way you can really see what your whole magazine's doing down there. See how that point of impact has shifted now. And that's mostly because from 180 bar and down, we're going to start really amping up these velocities. And so naturally you're going to see a shift in the point of impact. Okay, so we have shot 2 magazines here from a 200 bar fill, and that's going to take us down to about 160, 170, somewhere in that area. I forgot that 150 bar was on that right below. So before we were really more like 190, 180, somewhere in that area. Now we're somewhere closer towards, 160, 170. All right, I'm going to go ahead and keep it rolling here. I'm going to load us up a magazine here with these JSB. These are the exact jumbo heavies. And again, these are non-CZ. These are the 18.13 grain pellet. I'm just going to load this magazine up here for us, and we'll fling these down range on the same fill. Now, a lot of people may say, well, not really fair to do any accuracy testing off of the same fill and just shooting it down, and you're not going to be consistent with your accuracy because you're shooting a different weight and pellet out there off the same fill, and etc., and that's fine. But I can tell you this, guys, if the pellets are going to group, the pellets are going to group. And so at these speeds, because of the velocities I know that they're traveling at, they should make some nice groups. And if not, I wouldn't be loading them up for you. So we have magazine number 3. These are the JSB 18.13 grain pellets, and we're just going to move right on down to the bottom left corner right there. Like I said, really, this thing really gets jamming at like 150 bar. That's where the velocity really peaks out right there and stays its steadiest just long enough to get what I consider to be the most consistency out of the shot curve here from this air cylinder. The way that this is balanced with the between the valve and the hammer spring here, it's just dumping so much unwanted air, unused air, pardon me, that it really just does no good. You could back this thing down. You could back this rifle down. There's a bug out there on that target downrange, and if it was accurate enough, I'd shoot that bug right off of there. Anyways, those JSB 18s were not moving very well. Let's take a look at our pressure here and see where we're at. So we are just getting into the good area. We are still somewhere right there in about 160 bar somewhere. So still really good use of air. It's still coming out. Again, this is a very large air cylinder on this, so we could definitely be tuning this thing way down and be getting much more consistent shot string out there. We're going to go ahead, just out of my own curiosity, I'm going to try and load up these are Crossman Premier Gold Tip pellets. I'm not sure when or where I even got these things from. I want to see if they would index in the magazine. It looks like we're not going to get much turning going on. Sometimes you can get them to just work with you. Let's see. I got it past the first one. Let's see if I can get the rest of them in there. Sometimes you just gotta just hold it just right there. So we may just try like 5 of these or so, just to, well, if I can get the whole magazine loaded in there, might as well try it. Now, this is good information out there too, you know, so that if you may be interested in knowing if you can load up your Predator polymags and things of the sort. Now these obviously are going to have a different length than the Predator polymag, and you can also get the Predator polymag shorts in 22 caliber, so may not be an issue. This one's missing its tip here. Let's get one with a tip in there. But I figured I would try them out because they were sitting in the shop, and I said, why not? Alright, let's give it a try here now. This is going to be really moving, and these are, well, they chambered alright. They probed just fine in there. 17.4 grain pellet here. A little bit lighter than our last go, but that's alright. And we're going to just try and keep it right there on that right quadrant of that target. I have no idea where these are going to land. Let's see. Wow, way up high and to the right. Let's see if this will even make a group. Man, that's really high and right there. Yeah, it's just not going to group. The pellets are indexing. Yeah, these are just flying all over the place. Let's see if we can even hit some steel. Just for the fun of it. Let's see what else we got out there. There we go. Let's see if I can hit that little joker on the inside there. Wow, look at that. I went right on through. Can I hit that small white one up on top? I just barely missed it. Alright, well, that's the end of that. Those did actually all index. They all work just fine in the magazine. Alright, we can go take a look at these groups real quick and get you guys out of that little GoPro mount here. So don't worry, there are going to be quite a few more videos to come out here where we are going to be shooting this thing over the chronograph and shooting out at different distances. I'm going to be modifying this thing, and we're really going to be working this thing over so we can see what it's capable of. But shooting out there at right out there at 40 yards, let's go take a look at this real quick. We're going to leave that guy there and go down here and talk a little bit about what's going on. I got to remember now not to put my finger on this microphone because I've been bad about doing that, so y'all better remind me out there. Anyways, just want to come out here and take a look so I can show you some things here. Alright, let me kill this little recording here. Okay guys, here we are, 4 yards, not 44, pardon me. 40 yards. This is our first group here with the Crosman Premier Hollow Points. Okay, second group here. That's those FX 15.9 grain pellets. It's a bit more of a quality pellet, so that's to be expected. You know, it's that the pellet really does matter a lot, guys. Okay, but don't always rely on a pellet. There's a lot of variables here. Anyway, so we got our group here with the 15.9s. And none of these are worth coming out here. I'm not showing you all this stuff here so I can say, look how small it is. It's the best group in the world. I'm saying this is still acceptable at 40 yards. You know, it's what I would pretty much consider an entry-level PCP air gun. And at 40 yards, you know, even with the cheapest pellets we have, these Crosman Premier Hollow Points, I mean, I'm still getting just about under my thumb coverage there. Like a 2-inch spread at 40 yards, so not terrible. We tightened up a lot. We can tighten it up a lot with cleaning. We can tighten up a lot with modifications, some tuning and things of the sort. But again, we tried to shoot. These here were the JSB 18 grains right here, and they were not very consistent. They were kind of all over the place too. And then over here, we tried to shoot a group anyways with that little wild card there, those gold tip Crossmans, and they kind of just started flying all over the place. So I just decided to take a couple shots out here on a few hanging targets and just leave it at that. Anyways guys, that's what I'm working on here. Let's go back over here real quick I'm gonna go ahead and throw up these chronograph numbers so you all can see them, and I'm gonna roll out with that one. But with that being said, guys, this is from Gunsan. It was sent over to us. This is the CS-ATA 22 caliber. So if you're interested in it and you found you some useful information off this video, then please do me a favor, give it a thumbs up if you like it. Make sure you subscribe to follow me for more, and get these chronograph numbers rolling for you so y'all got that and to close it out there. As always, guys, we'll see you next time, and enjoy this Gunsan CS-ATA and 22 caliber, guys. You're gonna see more of it. Let's get these chronograph numbers rolling for you. I'll see you next time. All right, real quick, guys, I'm gonna close this video out for you here with some chronograph numbers. Let's speed this part up. We're gonna be using nothing but Crosman Premier hollow points. 14.3 grain pellet, 200 bar fill, max pressure. All right, first shot, here we go. 864.